Hey, this is Darren from Property Prosperity, and today I thought I'd have a chat to you about the US election, particularly because it's the eve of the election, and I'm sure maybe you're quite interested, and maybe you have no interest whatsoever. But the reason why it matters to us is because America is a global superpower, and whatever happens in America can have an effect on us. So basically, they talk about if America catches a cold, then we all get sick. So that's why whoever the president is of the United States will have a big impact on what's going to happen over in Australia. And particularly what I want to focus on today is the Australian property market. What may happen to the Australian property market if Trump becomes elected relative to, if Hillary Clinton becomes elected. So the thing to understand about markets in the short term, property market in particular, is determined by market's perceptions. And so if people believe something's going to happen, then the market reacts with the assumption it's actually going to happen. Or likewise, if they believe it's not going to happen, then they react as if it's not going to happen. And so in the long term, though, it's basically all comes down to supply and demand. And so supply, if there's lots of demand and not much supply, then the market's going to go up. If there's lots of supply and not much demand, the market's going to go down. So the reason why perceptions are going to matter, and particularly why short-term decisions are going to have an effect on us as well, is depending on where the market is, what type of property market we're in, that's where perceptions are going to have a more important effect and short-term thinking, I suppose. So example-wise, the reason why that's important and why it's going to be different compared to Trump relative to Hillary Clinton is because Clinton's come from the political machine, I suppose. People know what to expect from her. She's been in politics for a long, long time. She's more likely to have alliances and agreements and allegiances to particular, rightly or wrongly. I'm not necessarily saying it's good or a bad thing, but saying that she's from within the system. And what that means is she's more likely to act as if things have happened in the past. She's going to keep on keeping on, or keep doing the same thing that everyone else has done in the past, because that's all she's ever known, because she's developed all her skills and experience within the system. And so the reason why that may be a good thing, as far as if you're looking at short-term perceptions, is because we're not necessarily going to have a significant effect on the way we think about things, because things are probably going to end up doing the same as what they've done in the past. So whereas if we look at Trump, he's coming in from outside of the system, and he's a person that, has got heaps of cash, so he doesn't really care what other people think. He's not doing it for the money. What his intentions are and why he's actually doing it is uncertain, I suppose. And the importance of that, and the reason why that's important to consider, is uncertainty creates a lack of clarity, and creates the perception that, or a lack of perceptions, I suppose. And what that means is we don't actually know what to expect. And so we don't know what to plan for and what's likely and what's unlikely. And so what that means is people become really, really conservative, and they take the safest route possible. What that means, as far as, if we look at economics and the market would go, then if in the face of its uncertainty, what you're going to do is go to things which are a lot more certain. And so things like you're going to go out, and if you're investing in, stocks or shares or commodities, then you're probably going to invest in things that are pretty reliable, and that they can sort of hopefully give you a bit more comfort in uncertain times. And they're things like investing in stocks, where that or gold, where gold's quite a reliable resource, and the fact is not going to change. There's not a lot of supply and demand changing all the time, and so it's a fairly conservative investment. And so you might find that the gold prices increase, and you've noticed that over the last couple of weeks, gold prices have been increasing as it's become more and more likely that Trump is potentially could be elected, and so the gold price has increased. Likewise, other things like putting money into bonds, and bonds are basically government-backed securities, which means the government's going to back them. So you don't get great returns, but it's highly likely you're going to get your money back because the government's backing it. So the other thing you can put, if you're thinking about foreign currency, investing in foreign monies, then basically you've got the American dollar and the US dollar, and you've got the euro dollar, and a whole pile of different currencies. What happens when people are quite nervous and they're quite concerned about what's going to happen in the future? They go to the biggest currencies, and obviously the American currency is one of the biggest currencies there is. And so quite often then people, if they have the choice, they'll go out and buy the American dollar relative to some of the other smaller countries, because they know it's a lot more secure and a lot more likely to be more valuable going down the future because it's a lot bigger currencies. So quite often, there's the things you're going to find. You're going to find people buying more gold. You're going to find people more investing in bonds, and you're going to find people investing in the American dollar. Why that matters is because that's going to change things like the foreign exchange rate. People start buying more American dollars, then it's going to the value of the American dollar is going to go up, which means the Australian dollar goes down in value. And people start getting into gold, then obviously the gold price is going to increase, but then other shares may be a lot more volatile. And so how is that actually going to affect the Australian property market? What the effect is going to happen in the Australian property market means things that are really uncertain, when the market's really uncertain, and things that we're not so sure about, we're going to be even less sure about them. So things like, you look at the, say the Sydney property market or the Melbourne property market, people are talking about that it's a little bit overheated. Hey, Hasley, thanks for joining. They're talking about that it's a little bit overheated. And so if you're a bit concerned, if you're a big optimist and you think, I see that the price has gone up by heaps, but I think they're going to go up by more, then you're going to get out there and start buying more property. And there is a chance that, say the Sydney market or the Melbourne market may continue to go up, continue to further, I suppose. But suddenly this uncertainty becomes into the market, and then you go, well, it does look a bit over here. It makes you rethink your decision process and maybe decide whether you really want to invest in some of those markets. As far as you look at some other markets which are a bit more conservative as far as property goes. So, Tasmania or Adelaide or South Australia, it's actually quite conservative in the sense that, our property prices go up very slowly and we're quite conservative. So we don't have really big booms and busts. So it might actually be a good thing for the Adelaide property market, because people might choose then to invest in the Adelaide property market because there's less chance of, big booms and busts, and it's more reliable and less chance of losing money in the long term. So I've just got a comment here from Jamie. So Jamie's expecting Hillary will put in a no-flow zone over Syria. 98% chance of Russia attacked America first, and Trump, he will use force to remove China from reclaimed land is in. So that's quite a long post there, Jamie, and tried to buy off of me. So I'll let you read that comment, but basically he's expecting some big things to happen, talking to Jamie. Hey, Nelson, thanks for joining. I've seen all your posts there, so it seems like you're having fun over there in America. So lots of fun times ahead for you, I'm sure. So basically, when it comes down to investing in the short term, it's all about people's perceptions, and people's perceptions are going to have an effect on the market overall, and it's going to affect, if people are negative, or maybe it'll exaggerate people's perception in the sense that it's going to be, people might actually buy more, and they might buy less depending on those expectations when they're uncertain. Likewise, in the long term, it's all going to be about supply and demand. So the good thing and the bad thing to worry about is the good thing is in the long term, it doesn't really matter. It's all probably going to work its way out in the end, hopefully. But in the short term, there can be quite a bit of volatility happening if Trump gets elected. If Hillary Clinton gets elected, it's probably going to be the same old, because she's come from the same political system that's continued on for the last, decade or more. Then it's most likely that things aren't necessarily going to change that much. So yeah, I thought I'd just share that with you. Hopefully you find it interesting. For some people, that will bring you comfort. For other people, it'll cause you worry. But I suppose the thing at the end of the day is there's not much we can really do about it in Adelaide and in South Australia and in Australia as a whole. All we can really do is look after ourselves. And so my advice to you, if you are investing in property, it really doesn't. What you really should be focusing on is creating value from each individual property. And so if you look at that as a whole, if you buy a property, create value, and then sell that property, then the market it becomes irrelevant. Essentially, you're creating value regardless of what the market's doing. And so that should give you a lot more comfort if you're investing in property. If you're buying it and you're looking at something as either undervalued or you're buying something and creating extra value, then it doesn't really matter what the market does, because you're already ahead, because you've made some money straight away because you created some extra value. So thanks, guys, for joining me. If you've liked what I had to say, then click on the like button. If you haven't liked it, still click on the like button, because I really appreciate it. And if you know someone that's freaking out about this whole Trump thing, then maybe click on the share button, and hopefully they're not so stressed about it now. And if you've got something you'd like me to talk about in a future episode, or if you've got a comment then I'd love to hear about it. And yeah, put a comment in the comment box. Thanks, Jamie, for putting all your comments there. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to everyone soon. Bye for now.